Welcome to Aaron Plays. In this episode I will be doing the latest Vive l'Empereur game from Legion Wargames. This is the 10th game in the series, though Legion themselves have only done the last 3. The rest, or prior, by Pratzen editions. The series itself has been running from the late 90s and we're up to version 3.3 rules, which I'll be using in this actual game. I'll be using all the standard rules and the advanced rules, I think pretty much most of those, including the fatigue rules by division rather than by corps. The rules themselves are sort of between La Bataille, which are quite complex, through to Hexasim, which are relatively simpler than these rules, because these rules, each of the units is a regiment, but they do have them in columns and lines, formations on the board. I will not be doing a full rules explanation. What I will do is go through the counters, what the numbers mean on the counters, and then I will, as rules situations arise, I will point out the rules from there on. Now, the way I'm playing this game is solo assisted. I will be playing the French. I will also be playing the Austrians and the Bavarians tactically, as in I will be moving their units on the map. However, I have got a live opponent called Mark Trowbridge, who I'll be sending through pictures, the videos and updates, and he'll be giving orders for the general divisions of the Allies, which are sitting here. So I will not know the overall battle plan he has, though pretty much the battle plan in this so far I can see from the scenario is stop the French. So I'll go through the general situation, then I'll go through the victory conditions, and then I'll go through some of the units now, explain what they are, how the system and how they generally work, but I won't go in any more detail than that. So the situation, so in the box there was a little pamphlet which had all the special rules and the historical situation. So I'll read this now. At the end of the campaign of 1813 in Saxony, after the defeat of Leipzig, known as the Battle of the Nations, because it opposed 185,000 French to 300,000 allies of all nations, the Grand Army retreats towards France, thus having to cross half of Germany. This retreat from east to west passes through Frankfurt, but in the front of the city is a quite unexpected army, half formed of former allies of France, the Bavarians of General de Wrede. Bavaria, whose defections only the last in a long series, is eager to keep its independence, and the only possible way is to rally the coalition forced by the presence of the Austrian corps commanded by Fresnel. Thus Napoleon found before him not only an Austrian corps, but also the troops supposed to watch these two corps, forming an army of about 50,000 men. Determined to cut the road to the French, convinced that it was only a mob of stragglers, and the task will be easy. De Wrede was surprised when he realised he did not have to face stragglers in front of him, but the Imperial Guard itself, commanded by the Emperor. This is the situation on October 30th. We have the French, as I said, here. There lies a communication right back on this road here. This is the main road from effectively Leipzig, running all the way down here, and to where off my finger it is to Frankfurt. The Bavarians, who were allied to the French and were meant to be protecting this road and observing the Austrians, have now switched sides, and they, with the Austrians, are effectively blocking this road. Victory conditions. Both sides gain victory points for losses inflicted. The French get half a victory point per step they inflict on the Bavarian, the coalition, and the coalition gain 1 point per step that they take on the French, though if it's a guard unit they gain 2 points per step. There are also victory points for both sides exiting units off the Frankfurt road, and the French gained 30 victory points if they managed to clear all the Allies away from the north side of this river. So effectively this big chunk bank here. They gain 30 points if they manage that. The Allies gain 20 points if they've got anyone within Hanau at the end of the game. There are 12 turns. There are other little victory points for taking out leaders and such forth. And if Napoleon is ever a casualty, the French instantly lose. So effectively, the French need to push down this road, get something off board, prevent the Allies from getting anything off board, and ideally take the town. That would be a big win. The coalition need to stop that from occurring. Let us go through some details on these actual units. So if we look at an infantry unit first, here, okay, there are various numbers on it, and this is a unit that's in line, okay. When it's in line, it's deployed towards the vertex of the hex, so it has 2 front, 2 flank, and 2 rear. The numbers on the counters, this number here is its firepower. This number here is its melee value. This is the amount of steps in the unit. This is its morale. And this is its movement rating. This little number here denotes this number on the roster. Okay, so that's the unit in line. So when it flips over, I'll get a double flip it over. This is the unit in column, and the unit in column faces the faces of a hex side. It has 3 front, 2 flank, 1 rear. However, of the 3 front, it can only project firepower and melee value into here in the attack. It can still defend as they've been attacked through the front here, but it can't fire into these hexes. It can only fire into that one, and can only attack melee into that hex. The numbers are in the same shades. So you've got this one here is its firepower, so it's 1 less. Its melee value, its steps, morale, and movement. So that's an infantry unit. An artillery unit, denote the guns. Again, the coloration is the same. So you've got here the firepower, melee value, number of steps, morale. Movement, currently 0 because it's in fire mode. And if you flip the counter, as you can see, it's now got a firepower of 0. Again, melee value is still 1, 2 steps, 8, and 4 movement value. And moving on to a cavalry unit. Okay. Notice there's no firepower. 5 melee value, number of steps, morale, movement. And again, still that little number on the roster. Flip over to column. Again, no firepower. 3 melee value, 3 steps, 9 morale, 10 move. Okay. Again, columns are always facing the hex front, whereas lines will always face the vertex. So just now a little close-up of the situation. So there's some Austrian reserves here, some quite heavy wooded terrain around the side. That little blue token denotes the French lines of communication. Over here there's quite a lot of French cavalry. At the back, this is the Imperial Guard. There are members of the Old and the Middle Guard there, with the man himself, the Emperor. Guard, cavalry, remnants of 2 French infantry corps from Leipzig, and then the Guard artillery and the reserve artillery all ready to open up and hopefully clear a path through. The Austrians and the Bavarians they've got some units already on this side of the river, nobody in the town, and they've got cavalry on the wings with some artillery and a lot of infantry here in the centre. On the extremes they've got a line of communications, and there are some Cossacks and some militia floating around. They've also got a line of communication down on this side of the map and currently on the Frankfurt road. So that is the overall situation. I'll pull back so you can see the battle lines. The French are desperately short of infantry. They've got magnificent artillery batteries and they are very strong in cavalry. The Allies are a mixed bunch. They have more infantry, less cavalry, and the cavalry is not as good. And their artillery, there is quite a lot of artillery there, but again it's of significantly poorer quality than the French. So with that in mind, I'll be having the camera on the side. I will be beginning the first turn shortly, well, in the next episode. So I hope you'll enjoy me for the ride. All the best. Thank you.